Okay friends, it's time to get started on replacing our headlamp assembly. Something that I want to mention is it will be the same process for either side of the vehicle. To get started on replacing the headlamp assembly, it's going to be very easy, but first we have to remove the corner marker lamp. We can do that by removing this bolt right up here. I'll use my Phillips head screwdriver for this. Now we can grab onto the corner marker lamp and we're going to give this a little wiggle and try to pull it forward. There's going to be a couple tabs that press in. There we are. Now you can see one of the tabs right here and one right there. They just press straight into their little rubber grommets right along here. Now let's go ahead and disconnect this. I'm going to twist this right here and inspect the bulb. If it needs to be replaced, go ahead and replace it. Go ahead and set that aside. Now to remove the headlamp assembly from the area, you're going to find that you have two tabs that you can use some pliers, grab onto, and lift them straight up. Something that I want to mention about these tabs is once you lift them up, they're going to come up a little bit too far. You need to look along the backside and you're going to see the hole that matches up with the piton that comes from this. Once you have it lined up, go ahead and grab onto that headlamp assembly and start pulling it away from the vehicle. Behind that, you're going to find where the headlamp bulb's located. Let's go ahead and grab onto this adapter right here. That's the locking ring. We're going to turn that counterclockwise and slide it down the wiring. Go ahead and grab onto that bulb, pull it on out of there. Once you have it out of there, you need to make sure that you inspect the bulb, and it's also a good idea not to touch it with a greasy or oily finger. It's going to ruin the life of the bulb overall. Set that aside. There it is, friends. Okay, friends, now it's time to install our brand new headlamp assembly. Let's have a look from the back side. This rod that comes all the way down right here is the adjustment rod. That's how you're going to aim your beam. All right, so now that we have the headlamp out of the way, we can continue on by removing our plastic retainer. Now on ours is broken. I can slide it right on over that, but we'll go with the assumption yours isn't broken to that point. To remove this, I'm going to come right underneath this clip. It should be double-sided. We'll just go ahead and slide that right off of there. I always like to look at the bulb. Now you just go ahead and slide off that retainer, give it a close inspection, set it aside. Let's take that headlamp bulb and we're going to slide it right into the headlamp. Should slide right in there. Generally, I like to make sure that I have the wiring harness area with the clip facing up. Now we can get this on here. Give that bulb a wiggle to make sure it's completely secured. Let's get this back in the vehicle. Let's latch this in. Give it a wiggle, make sure it's secured. Now we're going to start sliding the headlamp assembly back into position in the vehicle. Now while you look at this, you're going to find that you have several little tabs that need to fit into their corresponding holes. There's 3 of them to be exact. We'll go ahead and slide it in. You can wiggle these around to make sure everything lines up as you push it into position. Now this should press in here fairly easily. Once you have everything bottomed out, we're going to go ahead and press down these metal clips. Sometimes you just have to use a hammer. Give it a loving bonk. Give it a wiggle to make sure it's completely secured. Okay friends, now it's time to get ready to install our corner marker assembly. Looking at the backside, you can see that you have your alignment pitons. Those are going to need to fit into their corresponding holes. For those holes, I generally apply a little bit of lubricant. It's just going to help this slide in a little bit easier. Now there's no adjustment for this, so you don't have to worry about that in particular. Now we're just going to take this and we're going to line it up, slide it in, and rotate it clockwise until it locks into position. Give that a wiggle to make sure it's completely secured in the assembly. Now let's line up those mounting points and slide it in. You want to pay attention right in this area here. The lamp assembly needs to fit underneath the body. You can see where the screw holes are, line them up, and get ready to put in your Phillips head screw. Let's take that mounting screw, we'll start it in there and snug it up. Make sure it's tight. All right, so once you have everything together, just test it and make sure it functions properly. For the headlamp assembly, at this point, you're going to want to make sure that you replace the other one, because you do them as a pair, and then do a headlamp alignment. This is going to be a general tutorial on how to aim your brand new TRQ headlamp assemblies. Okay, so looking at your brand new TRQ headlamp assembly, you're going to see where your low beam is, and you'll see a little dot right in the center. And that is the axis point, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to mark that with an erasable marker, just so it's easier to see. Next, what we need to do is measure from the level ground up to this point and take note of that measurement. Now we're just going to pull the car up to our wall. On our vehicle, we remember that the measurement was 28 inches for our access point. Your vehicle may be different, but that's where I'm going to put this tape, just above that 28 inches. We'll do the same on the other side. Okay, so let's just back the vehicle up, straight back 25 feet from the wall. And now that we moved our vehicle 25 feet back from the wall, we're going to start with our measurement here. That's where the headlamp center is. We're going to go down 4 inches on the driver's side. On the passenger side, we have our line here. What we need to do is go down 2 inches. To adjust the driver's side, we're going to cover our passenger side headlamp. If you look at the back side of your headlamp assembly, you're going to see something that looks like this. This is the adjustment. Some of these headlight assemblies have 1, 2, or even more of them, but you should at least have one. This is how we're going to adjust the headlight beam. Now we're going to lower the top part of the beam down to just below this line. When you turn the adjustment to the right, it brings the beam up, and if you turn it to the left, it'll bring the headlight beam down. And this is this way on most vehicles. Let's continue on to doing the passenger side. All right, we properly aligned our TRQ headlamp assemblies. Okay, and on the quality TRQ headlamps for a pickup truck, the procedure is going to be the same. You're going to find your center dot, mark it, and then you'll measure from the level ground up to your dot. So once your headlamps are properly adjusted, it'll be time to adjust your fog lamps. You'll notice on the driver's side, the focal point is all the way at the bottom right now. I would like to bring it up so it meets up with approximately the bottom of the focal point of the headlight. Some fog lamps have an adjuster, others don't. The ones that do have an adjuster, you would just turn the adjustment to the left or to the right to adjust the beam up and down to where it needs to be. Now with your TRQ headlamps and fog lamps properly aligned, you can drive down the road safely.